I was able to come to the United States officially February 17, 2001. I remember the first day I landed. If I'm not wrong, I think it's JFK airport. It was extremely cold. I had shorts on. I had like my African shirt, and it was snowing. I've never saw snow in my life before. I thought it was sugar, so I tried to taste it, but unfortunately, it wasn't as sweet as I expected. Everything in America was different. Bright lights, I mean, what are the entries in New York? Bright lights, everything is there. It's like, whoa. And here's a little village boy that's never even seen a building more than 4 stories tall. But when I came here, I lived in Chester County, and I've been living in Chester County since I came here. I lived in Westchester, Thorndale, and then Downingtown's where I last stayed before I moved to DC for school. Life in America was not as easy, because back home we heard America as like the streets of gold, you pick money from trees, you know what I mean? Like everyone wanted to come here, and it was the promised land, sort of, kind of to say, and I figured it wasn't. The promised land was extremely cold, so we never expected that. So, and the promised land is all private. Everyone and their families in their homes. Back home, it's like if you have a child, the whole neighborhood like brings that child up. Like, for example, if I was to get in trouble, 3 houses down the road, then that parent or that family, that household has no written. It's not written, but they have the permission to discipline me in any way they can because I got in trouble because. Essentially, the whole neighborhood raises up the kid, and once I got disciplined there, I came home, I got disciplined also. In America, you don't do that. Someone will sue you if you discipline someone else's kid. So, but it was very different, and like the way people lived, the way of life over there was a bit, chillax, and you didn't have to, let me not say worry, but like, it wasn't, oh, I've got to be at work at 9 o'clock, and it's very difficult to get accustomed to that. Everyone was just so busy constantly. It was a country full of workers, which is not bad, but I was used to, relaxing it. And in America, you have to go to the grocery store for everything. Like everything's money, 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 and which is, that's the economy, that's how it works. So, so that was like okay. So if I don't have money. You know what I mean? Then I have to rely on adults to provide money to get food. But back home, I could just climb a tree or go to the nearest, garden and papayas, guavas, anything you wanted to eat, it was there. So, as far as the whole system of the schooling, because I never went to school in Africa. I only took lessons, and so when I came here, they put me in the first grade, and I didn't speak the language, so that was the most difficult part because I didn't speak English. And so I had to learn quickly. And what I learned was, especially as I got older a bit, like school-wise, there was a lot of, how do you say? As from an immigrant's point of view, or a foreigner, someone who comes here, there was a lot of remarks sometimes that were made that I didn't necessarily like, but that's what had happened. And unfortunately, I got a lot of these negative remarks from more from the African American side than the white side, you could say. And it was very surprising because when you first come here as a child, when you see another black person calling you maybe African booty scratcher, you're thinking, oh, this is my fellow black man, that's not supposed to happen. It's like, you kind of feel down, but that's one of the things that you have to deal with coming from a different country. It's not your culture, the system is different, and you have to go through that, and it was unfortunate, but I never let any of that get to me, and I was very fortunate to go to good schools. The Chester County area, they have very, very good education, and I got good elementary school education, a good middle school education, and a phenomenal high school education at Malvern, so I was very blessed for that.